So lately, I've been seeing a lot of used models of the RX1R Mark III popping up.
Oh my god, that's not a bad deal!
At a price that I could reasonably justify to Vivian.
Absolutely not.
At MSRP of $5,100 US. Yeah, I agree with you, Michael. It is a bad deal. Most people would be better off with the A7CR for half the cost and get twice the features. Oh, but not only do I have a severe case of gas, I also have another toxic trait. I am a CCC, a compact camera connoisseur. I just love tiny things with big tech energy. Combine that with a hefty discount, you know I gotta pull the shutter. Rip my wallet, hello Sony RX1R Mark III. No, Sony didn't pay me to say nice things about this camera. More like I paid them and now I have to make a video to illogically justify my purchase. But we do have some grievances about this camera, which we'll talk about later. Gosh, just look at how beautifully crafted this camera is. Made in Japan too, oh. You know, I'm kind of shocked that they managed to make this thinner than the previous RX1R Mark II while using a bigger battery. Like, I had to dust out these FW50 batteries from the olden days, but look at these two battery size alone. I cannot believe this little thin mint right here was able to power a full frame sensor, but that just goes to show how much internal improvements Sony made within if they were able to fit in a bigger battery while shaving down the physical size. Now don't get me wrong, if we're out all day, we still need to carry a few extra batteries. That hasn't changed. But thank God there's USB-C now. We can at least conveniently charge the camera directly without buying a dedicated battery charger. Now, it's really hard to convey in the video just how light and compact this camera is, even more so than the A7C Mark II and the A7CR. We went on a road trip recently, and after shooting with the RX1R Mark III for a week straight, I went to go pick up the A7CR with the 40mm G, and I was like, oh my god, this is a lot heavier than I remember. Now, it's not a world ending of a difference. I don't want to come off as I'm glazing on the camera, but it's very noticeable. And yeah, it's not pocketable like the Ricoh GRs, but we can't forget that this is a full frame sensor camera with a high quality f2 lens. Ooh, gotta flex my drip right here, bam! And besides, why would I want to pocket it? I got moments to capture. And I don't need to hide this from her. Vivian already knows, and I'm already sleeping on the couch. Okay, we're just really playing it up for the camera. She's not really mad.
I actually really like the new film looks on this camera.
So along with another unpopular Sony camera, both the FX2 and the RX1R Mark III introduced two new creative looks. We already have FL, which not many people actually know about, but now we also have FL2 and FL3, all designed to mimic different film looks.
So apparently Film Look 1 tones down some colors, but it enhances the sky, greenery, and contrast, so it makes it a really good choice for natural landscapes if you have like the sea and the sky and the mountains in it, but it's especially good for subjects if you put them against the blue sky. So Film Look 2 looks like it elevates the contrast and it subdues some of the colors, so it gives the image more of a nostalgic feel. Whereas Film Look 3 suppresses the contrast, but it gives the colors a little bit more of an overall airy feel.
And my god, they really do make landscapes, portraits, and street photography look so dang good. And that's the concept of EDC cameras, at least to us personally, right? No back-end editing work later. I just want to have some fun, shoot some good-ass photos, and just post it. And while Fujifilm and Ricoh still have the upper hand in the film simulation world, I think Sony has done a real good job with these film looks. The colors look great and we're very happy with them. And another feature that I absolutely love is the step zoom, which gives us 2 additional focal lengths with the push of a button. This button right here. At 35mm, we of course get all of our 61 megapixels, but 50mm, we're still getting 26, which is still a lot. And 70mm is just 15 megapixels, which we could live with. And I really want to see the step zoom feature come to future A7R cameras. We're obviously going to get more than 61 megapixels in future sensors, so please Sony, please give us that ability to do several in-camera crops like this. Now I know some of you photo snobs in the comments would just say, just crop in post, bro. It's not a real 50mm. It's not a real 70mm. It's just the crop. Just crop in post, bro. Listen, Michael, buddy, I want to see the composition as I'm shooting my photos. I don't want to go home and think about how I'm gonna reframe it, okay? If the quality holds up, there's nothing to complain about. If this is 50, I'm gonna take it as 50. If it says 70, I'm gonna take it as 70mm. God, these damn Michaels. And here's the beauty of it, right? If you're gonna get your own RX1R Mark III and you wanna crop it later, you can do that. If we shoot RAW and JPEG with the step zoom enabled, the RAW will be taking the full 61 megapixel 35mm shot anyway, while the final JPEG will be whatever zoom that we had set it on. It's a win-win for every shoot style. Speaking of which, battery is dying. Let me go charge it really quick with today's sponsor, Anker. This is the new Anker Prime charging docking station, and it's pretty insane. So I have the RX1R Mark III connected to it right now, and not only is it being charged, but I'm also transferring files from my camera directly onto my computer that is hooked up to these 3 displays right here, all of which are connected back to this same hub. I know it doesn't seem like a huge deal, but once I explain the nuance of it all, then hey, maybe this will fit into your workflow as well. This is the MacBook Air, which is notorious for only being limited to 1 to 2 external displays, depending on which chipset you have. But this dock allows us to bypass that limit and give us 3 external displays thanks to the DL7400 chip inside, along with the Display Link software. You can hook this up to 1 8K60 display and 2 4K60 displays at the same time, and this is actually the world's first triple display charging dock with stable 8K connection. You can have Lightroom on one screen, YouTube playing on another, and another productivity app of your choice.
You are a screen fiend.
And because it's Anker, you know they're all about charging efficiency. The main USB-C host port enables all the action right here, and it provides 140 watt of max power to charge our laptop. And when the host is not connected, the 3 USB-C on the front can provide up to 100 watt each to charge our other devices. And look, you can monitor the different outputs here via the LCD display, and it can double as a clock. There are 14 ports in total, including a 2.5G Ethernet port, micro SD reader, and headphone jack, so you can really load this baby up.
Dang, this thing is working overtime. Wouldn't it get extremely hot though?
Well, Anker did put in a fan to actively cool it to ensure that there will be no throttling in charging and transfer speed.
Ooh, it's nice and warm, but not too hot to touch. And it's quiet too.
It's also slim and sleek with no giant power brick that most charging docks of this caliber normally comes with. Just one power cable. And Anker will be running some promos very soon, so check out the link in the description box below to get more info. Thank you so much for listening. Now back to the rest of the video, which the next section is aptly titled Video. Now, this is definitely one area that I'm pretty disappointed at, and I get it, 0.1% of the people buying this camera aren't gonna be shooting videos with it, at least not with the purpose of shooting more videos than they will photos. But I really think it would have benefited this camera if it could shoot 4K 60p. Now, I personally don't care if it overheats in 5 minutes. I take short enough clips anyways. So please, Sony, if there's anything you can do, I know I'm just talking to a wall right now. If you can, if you're listening, just put 4K 60p in the firmware update for this camera. I would greatly appreciate it. Otherwise, really loving the 4K 30p 10-bit 422 SLAV3 and S-Cinetone. But what's also hurting this camera is the lack of in-body image stabilization. Handheld videos are pretty shaky. We do have digital active stabilization, but it crops pretty severely. Even in photo mode, we could have totally benefited with the IBIS. Since this is using a 61 megapixel sensor, we would have to use a slightly faster than normal shutter speed in order to get stable, clear results. My photos are still coming off a tad blurry even at 1/60 handheld, which should have been a more than acceptable shutter speed to get tack sharp results. I find that I have to shoot around 1/125 at the lowest, but 1/250 for my safe bet. I know, it's a skill issue. So it's around here where we'll find that the A7CR is a much better deal. We get all of those advanced video features that I was grieving about, plus we get that 7.5 stop of in-body image stabilization, so we can shoot as slow as 1 second. Which now is a perfect segue to more of the grievances I have with the RX1R Mark III. So one justifiable complaint that the internet has is the lens. Optically, this is a fine lens. It is a Zeiss after all. But it's also the same lens they've been using since the original RX1, which came out back in 2013. This lens is a teenager now, so this has to be using some really old focusing mechanism and none of the new extreme dynamic linear motor that we're used to from the latest G and G Master lenses. While we aren't exactly going to be shooting high-speed action sports with this camera, it would have been nice if Sony made their own 35 G Master f2 lens with the better focusing mechanisms, but I think the R&D to make a similar compact 35 would have made this camera even more expensive, so I guess it's nice that they stuck with Zeiss.
If it ain't Zeiss, it ain't nice.
Now, to be clear though, the autofocus works great for the most part. It's just if you had used any of the more recent G and G Master lenses, you might find the tracking autofocus here feel a tad bit slow. No more pop-up EVF, which arguably is the coolest invention ever. It keeps the whole look minimal, and when you need it, pop goes the viewfinder. But I can largely live without it. Yes, it's hella cool, but the form factor now is minimal enough to not need it. Although this separate eyepiece here that came with the purchase is a little awkward. It's nice to block out some of that sun, but if you have it on and you're trying to frame with the screen, it does block the LCD a bit, which, speaking of, it is a fixed display, not articulating, not even tilt. Fixed. So here's the conundrum, right? For the sake of making it as thin and as compact as possible, they also sacrifice the tilt screen. In my opinion, they've gone a little too far here. If it had to be slightly bigger to include some type of articulating screen, I don't think most people would mind it. Well, most of the 0.1% of the people buying it anyway. Now check this out. I can hook this up to my phone and use it as an articulating screen. What a great solution. Just kidding, but I largely did get this camera for tutorial purposes on this channel. Now, some of you know, I often connect my phone to record the on-screen UI to teach photography and to demo the in-camera features like autofocus. I love the fact that this camera is so compact, so whenever we travel anywhere, I can just bring my phone, the RX1R Mark III, and a cable, and I can make photography content spontaneously. I had already been doing that with my old RX1, but the updated menu and the updated processor were sorely needed. I've always felt the RX1 and the RX1R Mark II both had very laggy menu systems. Even when I was using them more leisurely, the outdated internals just added a lot of friction. The RX1R Mark III ultimately brings all the quality of life improvements that it desperately needed. But at the same time, it does leave a lot to be desired in some of the areas that we've discussed throughout the video, which is why it is hard to justify the $5,000 price tag. So, if you can snag it for a bit cheaper, or if you can find a good deal in the used market, then I truly think the RX1R Mark III is a compact full-frame gem. Well, anyways, it is bedtime for me. Good night, y'all.